everyone, welcome to Module 2, Historical Context for Period 1. This is the first of two modules on historical context in AP Summer Writing, and the purpose of the historical context modules is to give you the background of history information that you need to be able to do the things we're doing in summer writing. So let's take a look at Module 2 and see what we have here. One, you have the curriculum framework for Period 1. That's that document that outlines all the objectives and learning goals that you would need collected in one spot. You are free to just refer to the curriculum framework, or if you want to make a copy of it, you have to open the document, let it load, and because it's view only for you, you must click File and make a copy to make a copy of the curriculum framework for yourself. What you don't want to do is request access from the owner, because I'm the owner and I'm not going to give you the access. That would mean that you're editing our original document. We don't want that to happen. So curriculum framework is there as a point of reference if you want a snapshot of what the unit for Period 1 looks like overall. Underneath that, you have the lesson videos. Each lesson video consists of two things. One is the YouTube video where either Ms. Oberly, Dom, or myself will give the lecture on this particular topic. They range from about 7-8 minutes to 15 minutes. I don't think there's any in Period 1 that go the full 15 minutes, but we also don't have any in APUSH that go beyond a 15-minute lecture. The other thing that you have is the student notes. Now, taking notes on the lectures is entirely up to you. It's highly recommended that you take notes on the lectures so that you can refer back to them and don't have to keep rewatching those videos over and over again. If you use our student note templates, you see that they have the objective at the top and then the learning goals. This matches up identically to the PowerPoint that's used in the lesson. So if you want to have this open as you're watching it and take notes, it matches exactly what we have in our presentation. On the other hand, you can also take notes on your own if you want to do them, like, for example, in a notebook, or you want to do Cornell notes. That's entirely up to you. Notes are never collected for class. They're not scored. They are yours to use and yours to use alone. However, I will tell you, if you come into a teacher for help in APUSH, the first thing they're going to ask to see is your notes. So make sure that you have some notes when you come in to talk to us, because that shows us how you are processing information. So there is your Period 1 contextualization. That is lecture notes, and there is one for each of the videos. So if we scroll down past the videos to your first assignment to be turned in, this is the Period 1 EOL. This is the end of lecture questions that we had that video in the introduction about. This is the first thing you can submit and turn in that will carry over to your APUSH class in the fall, regardless of who your teacher is. It's a 20-point assignment. And as you go in and do this, I have a big warning for you. Once you complete the end of lesson questions and you've got it all filled out, now make sure you listen. Once you have it completely filled out, go to File and make a copy and save a copy of your EOL for yourself. Because once you submit it as an assignment on Google Classroom, ownership is transferred to the teacher and you can't access that document again until I return it to you. And you may want to go back to your EOL questions when you're studying after you've submitted them. So again, make a copy before you submit. So like I explained in the earlier video, here are the goals. You'll write your answers over here. Don't forget to use those complete sentences. That is so important. You can either do the learning goals. After each lesson, watch the YouTube video, take your notes, answer the questions. Some students actually take their notes right in here to answer the question. Make sure, though, you're using complete sentences when you're doing that. I recommend using bullets if your answer is going to be longer so you can break it down and it's easier to find things. You'll notice that some of the questions, I think some in period 1 have this, have parts A and B. So make sure that's clearly labeled over here when you're answering. The other option is you can wait till the end of the unit and go through and do all of your EOLs. Now, I know that you are all honor students and you love self-torture, so I'm guessing about 50% of you are going to procrastinate on this and wait until they're due, and the night before be up till 3 o'clock in the morning doing your EOLs, and you're going to tweet and Snapchat about how much you hate APUSH and how it's ruining your life. But if you want to be proactive, a better P than procrastination, I would recommend doing these as you finish each lesson. And that way, by the time we're done with the unit, all your EOLs are done and you don't have to sweat it out as you're also studying for the exam at the same time. I said exam and I meant assessment. So that's my recommendation. If we go back to the assignment, I'm going to click on the rubric, and this is the rubric that we will all be using for your EOLs. They are 20 points, and the rubric is broken down in this way. Complete sentences. If you have complete sentences throughout, 5 points. If you slack off a little bit, you're going to drop down to 3. And if you just have phrases and bullets throughout, not written in complete sentences, 0. The next thing is the completion. How complete is your EOL grid? If all the questions are answered and answered well, not just got stuff put in them to put stuff in it, but actually you made an effort, it's 5 points. If you have some that are blank, it's 3 points, which is fine. You might miss some or have forgotten some. I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to cost you 2 points, but you can turn one in that is partially complete. And then if most of your questions have no response, it's 0. I think you're kind of getting the idea on the first 2 parts of the rubric. Either you have it all done the way we expect, or you have it sort of done, or you just didn't do it very well at all. Finally is historical accuracy. We're going to go through, we're not going to read every answer you wrote. I'm going to be honest with you. That's way too much reading for us in a short period of time. But I'm going to skim it and I may pick random questions I check your answers for. And as I'm scrolling through and looking at it overall, how do your answers look? If you are proficient, that means the vast majority of your answers collectively, taken as a whole, are historically accurate. There might be a couple clinkers that you weren't quite right on, but the vast majority is historically correct. Nothing jumped out at me as being egregiously wrong. If you're adjacent, most of your answers are correct, but I'm starting to spot some clinkers. I think I keep using that term, which are some answers that are not correct or stand out as not correct or catch the eye, or maybe I spot checked that one and it wasn't right. Or if you're divergent, you go all the way down to 0 points because most of your answers are incorrect. So you get no credit there. So you definitely want to live in the adjacent proficient version. I'm a Belleville West honors student alumni, and I was a proficient person. If there were points to get, I wanted to get them. But that's how your scoring will break down on the EOL. You can turn these in at any point. I would turn them in earlier rather than later so that I can score them and give them back to you faster. If I get a bunch of work turned in all at the very last minute at the end of this seminar, you're not going to get back for a while, I'm telling you. 57 students enrolled. I would like you to turn these things in as you finish them so that I can get them back to you on a timely basis. If you have questions, feel free to shoot me an email if it's a pretty simple question. If it's a more complicated question, let's schedule a time during office hours for a Hangout or a Google Meet. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day and enjoy Module 2.